I've gotten to the point in my life where not a whole lot ever really surprises me anymore. For instance, I saw a bunch of kids eat Tide Pods once, and that crap will desensitize you. So when I opened up an article that argued that video games don't cost enough and are actually really cheap compared to other forms of media, I wasn't shocked. So today we're going to talk about how video game industry executives are morons. And again, what more fun than bagging on corporations? It's the best thing I can do. Also, I would like to thank Adult Swim for sending me the complete Blu-ray of Samurai Jack. Seriously, you guys are awesome. I love you. Anyway, guys, enjoy. You may remember recently Battlefront 2 was a massive collection of fidget spinners, and by fidget spinners I mean shit. It was shit. A corporate turd wrapped in Star Wars paint. It looked alright, but it still had the turd smell. Unfortunately. Boring campaign mode, cynical grindy multiplayer, avaricious corporate behavior. This game was in every sense of the word a failure. How on earth did a bunch of rich executives and analysts get it so wrong? Well, actually, it's pretty easy to explain. Video game executives are morons. They're corporate goons who don't know a damn thing about the product they're trying to sell. It's why Sony didn't want to publish Demon's Souls, which left the door open to Atlas to pick it up and make a killing off a massive new franchise. It's why EA executives thought kids didn't know what World War I was and snubbed the idea of a Battlefield 1. It's why every FPS is a muted, dirty military shooter as every company tries to go toe-to-toe with Call of Duty. Let's face it, you know the industry is pretty much screwed when World War I is considered a refreshing setting for a military shooter. You know, because we haven't had like 80 of those back in the 90s. My favorite one was actually Medal of Honor Rising Sun. That one was really good. Remember when the industry said linear games weren't wanted by consumers, even when BioShock and Dishonored were out there making them look like fools? Even more recently, Senua's Sacrifice was showing off how to be awesome and linear and just awesome. Seriously, that game is awesome. How about when horror games weren't profitable all of a sudden, all while indie horror games were selling millions of copies and making waves of virality on the internet? Are we supposed to believe those exceptions to the industry's corporate rules are simple coincidence? Or is it more likely the industry making good judgment calls is closer to the essence of lightning in a bottle? I, for one, don't think it's far-fetched to say so. Let's not forget the straight-up stupid mistakes like Evolve. I mean, not even like the premise of the game. Like, the whole game was just bad. Canceling Silent Hills? Huh? Konami? You suck? How about spending ridiculous amounts of money to market a video game? Dead Space. Dead Space, anyone? Why did your marketing cost $60 million? Or my favorite example, Gearbox releasing Battleborn the same time as Overwatch. Hey Randy, how did that one go for you? Huh? Did it go well? Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. It didn't, you idiot. And yet these stylistic yes men sit on high and call the shots with little threat of punishment. Players suffer while executives make hundreds of thousands of dollars appealing predominantly to casual gamers and 12-year-old boys. The same people who didn't want Ellie on the cover of The Last of Us for fear of lost sales, because if your only market is boys, clearly you're gonna make a killing, because we all know that girls cannot be gamers. Oh wait, that's stupid! And the people who think that are stupid. Life is Strange had a female protagonist. It made so much money. Business-savvy gents who laughed at the idea of games devoid of greedy microtransactions and virtual gambling. It really makes me wonder how they get to keep their jobs when they're wrong so damn often. And to be honest, this situation sucks. Ponder for a second on the brilliant IPs that will never be because some disconnected jackass in an ivory tower decided for you that those ideas were not worth funding. A history filled to the brim of games that got a chance and made profit in the end. Stardew Valley, Senua's Sacrifice, BioShock, Dishonored, Demon's Souls, Life is Strange, XCOM, The Witcher 2, 2016, Doom, and one of my personal favorites, the 3DS's Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. These games would not exist if executives got their way in the end. As AAA game companies complain they can't make money off of games, I sit here and wonder if gamers are really the problem, as they like to say. Maybe the problem isn't gamers wanting too much, maybe the problem is the industry doesn't provide what people want. A lack of diversity in genre, if you would. None of these moronic executives seem to be asking why every horror game now is a first-person game devoid of the ability to attack an enemy. Maybe it's because Outlast provided a scratch to an itch gamers wanted for a long-ass time. They seem to not understand that you can only bring so many people to market with the same old boring COD game. Nintendo, for instance, doesn't have a problem with content. Nintendo may be full of idiots who partake in shitty business practices, but at least those people know how to make a game. By the way, Ubisoft, Breath of the Wild is how to do an open world game right. Or you can look at The Witcher 3. Okay, champ? By the way, I'm pretty sure the next Far Cry game is going to be the same as the last 3 Far Cry games. Just a hunch. As long as games continue to be so expensive, and the varieties between military shooter A or B, games aren't going to be anything but a hobby. But hey, let's forget that nonsense. Executives got better ideas. Let me introduce you to Evan Wingren, a market analyst who just so happens to neglect mentioning he works for EA. By the way, he works for EA. Never forget! He works for EA. Wait, did I get his name right? Oh, no, wait, actually, I don't care. Recently, Evan wrote an article on CNBC explaining that video games just do not cost enough, and gamers who got angry about Battlefront 2's microtransactions are just blowing it out of proportion. Now please, allow Evan to explain video game pricing to your small plebeian brains. Evan thinks that video games are actually pretty cheap, and they should cost more, because we all know $60 per game and $500 per console is cheap. That's apparently cheap. He says if a gamer spends $60 for a game, an additional $20 per month for loot microtransaction boxes, and played around 2.5 hours a day for 1 year, it comes out to roughly 40 cents per hour of entertainment. He said, I'm guessing, while feeling really smart. Alright, dumbass. Let's think about this with something I like to call logic. Evan argues that the factor that should determine the price of a media is the length of time spent experiencing said media. Basically, what he's saying is that longer games are actually cheaper forms of entertainment. By this logic, Ride to Hell Retribution would be a better product over Shovel Knight because it's cheaper per hour of playtime. But the rest of us gamers know the real measure of success is quality over quantity. It's why I personally would rather play Shovel Knight than any COD game to come after Black Ops. Because let's face it, Ride to Hell can be as long as it wants. It can have microtransactions and a competitive multiplayer up the wazoo. But that doesn't matter if it isn't fun to play. Evan misses the point of games entirely, even though he wants us to know that we are gamers. I'm literally not even joking. He actually uses that as an argument. He says we are gamers, and therefore he knows about video games. By the way, who's we? And are they all as disingenuous as you are, Evan? Are they? Just because you can spend time with a game doesn't mean it's worth it. Just look at No Man's Sky, for Christ's sakes. And that little nugget of stupid still has another problem in it. Because Evan seems to think gamers only buy one game a year. Who the hell is playing a game for 2.5 hours a day while spending $20 a month for a year? Like, literally, what the hell are you talking about, my dude? Does Evan really think Battlefront 2 is that good? Because it isn't. It's crap. He clearly has zero idea how games are played, or worse, he does, and he's just a liar. But it proves my point perfectly that executives either don't care what the data says, or are too simple to understand what's actually profitable.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
Okay, 1, then why is he asking? And 2, you're a dick. I mean, do you? Okay, do you remember the time Ubisoft said DRM was necessary to stop piracy? Okay, and then later came back and said DRM didn't stop piracy? What the hell was that one, guys? Huh? I mean, I know I harp on this a lot, but like, what is up with game companies thinking that better graphics make a better game? Or that people even want better graphics? Remember when Tomb Raider came out and they said, oh, well, we have it now so Laura can have individual strands of hair. Who needs it? That's stupid and a waste of energy. Not to mention Stardew Valley sells like hotcakes. Come on! Ha ha ha! We need them better graphics. Graphics is what's important, said literally only stupid people. The Order 1886. There you go. That proves graphics can't make a good game. In fact, the graphics didn't save that Snarfest at all, did it? I have just proven to be smarter than a game industry executive. Some of you might be saying, well, hindsight is 20/20, man. But that doesn't work with this particular joke, now does it, smartass? Let's face it. Video games are created by creative, hardworking individuals who work for wealthy morons. Leaders who lead while blind. Executives who talk out their rear ends without saying anything of importance or veracity. It's okay though, because the worse the AAA industry does, the better the indie market will do, which has proven to be far more vibrant and inclusive anyway. EA can't buy and close all of those indie studios. Ha 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 ha. Pricks. Let us all join together as gamers and bring forth the cultural downfall of short-term gains over long-term consequences, because if we don't, they won't. I don't know how to end this one, so I'm just gonna kind of end it. Yeah.